live.
I think we're live now. We got to find ourselves.
Do you have a shout out?
Um,
There we are. I see us. Happy Wednesday, everybody. It is 1 o'clock. What's that
Yes.
mean, Miss Shawan?
that means it is the best story time of the week.
Real estate.
It's Real Estate
101.
101.
Thank y'all for tuning in, everybody. If y'all could do us a favor, like, share, comment. Josh, have you liked, shared, and commented yet?
Yep.
Please. Thank you.
Sure
Noah,
have.
please, sir. Edward Hardy, please like, share, comment. Larima, I know you have. You're always on it. Well, big topic today. What do we have today, Miss Shawan?
Well, we are talking about today those telltale signs of you've put in an offer. Are you going to get it?
Ooh, what do you mean? This is I feel like this could be a controversial, touchy subject to some people, just because they don't want to hear the truth.
That's true. That's true. That's true. And it's a really tough market.
Absolutely.
It's an extreme. I think it's. I would call it an extreme market.
Yes.
Right now. I mean, it's definitely an extreme market. People are just going nuts.
Absolutely.
So, you've got to come in with something good. That's for sure.
You got to be on your A game. But how you've been doing real estate for how long now?
Like going on 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
Now, I know last year was super crazy too. Did you ever think that we were going to be right here in the situation
I
we're
never.
in?
I don't think anybody thought we would be in the situation that we're in right now.
No,
Last year,
absolutely.
8-9 months ago. I mean, it was things just got crazy real quick.
Yeah.
So I
Even-
don't think anybody was prepared for that.
Well, I remember when COVID was rolling around and we were all like, whoa, this market's going to go. We were in a hot market then. It was super hot.
Yeah.
And then, we were like, oh, well, there goes our jobs.
Yeah, well, that was scary because, that's kind of what you thought, that,
Yeah.
Housing market, nobody thought about people being locked up and,
Yeah.
Thinking, man, I need to get out of this house. I want a new house. I
Yeah.
need a house with a yard, that kind of thing. So,
Well, I think I had been, I'd just been in the office for not too long, maybe 3-4 months, and then COVID hit, and I'm like, damn, I just quit my full-time job to come over here and start real estate full-time. Market about to crash due to this virus. I was shook, man. I was scared as hell.
yeah, hey, the virus did nothing but ramp up the market.
Oh
That's-
my goodness, absolutely.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah, no doubt.
I just remember Tommy being in here, and he asked me how serious it was gonna be. I was like, oh, I ain't worried about that. Hey, look at us now.
Look at us now.
Well, perfect. Well, what do you have? What is your number one telltale sign?
Well, I can't take credit for this one. I had someone in the office, Mr. Zavisa. I'm going to go ahead and say his name.
This man right
Stevie Zavisa, the only, one and only. He says that the very first sign that you're probably not going to get the offer is that the buyer is not listening to the professional. And I think that is definitely 100%. So basically what he's saying is if you've got a buyer that's pretty much, no, I'm not giving over asking price. I'm not there. I want them to pay closing costs. In this market, it ain't happening.
No.
So you're really wasting paper and time.
Absolutely.
Because that's not going to get it. So I think that's very first sign. If your buyer is not really understanding how this market works and not listening to the professional who's done this many, many times.
Does it every day?
Yeah. then I think it's, that's a pretty good
Yes.
telltale sign that you're probably not going to get it.
I agree 100%, especially and of course, first-time home buyers, they're so they're not so clueless, but a lot of times they want some help, then they bring mama and daddy around, and mommy and daddy, they haven't bought a house since 1992. Mm-hmm. And when you could ask for some closing costs and stuff like that.
When the market was much different.
Yeah,
much different.
Pay below asking price, and they're not used to seeing what we're seeing every day.
Right.
the contracts we're writing, the negotiating we're doing with these agents, they don't understand that because, they did it in 92. We
Right.
do it every day. We see how the market's going, the trends. We study it because it's what we know. So, I just feel like whenever, you have parents here, people who haven't bought a house in this market, they can kind of persuade you to go the other way that
Well,
it's going to lead your
yeah.
offer to not get accepted.
Or really what that does sometimes is they start pointing out things about the house and that they feel like could be a huge problem, and then that buyer, then they're thinking, oh gosh, now there's this, and then there's this, and and I think most of the time you bring your parents along, if your parents are kind of thinking, this might not be the one, kind of puts doubt in your mind, and you're thinking, well, maybe this isn't the one.
Yeah.
Because you
Absolutely.
listen to what your parents say.
Yes, absolutely.
You value their opinion.
Well, you've been listening to them your whole lives.
Right. You value what they say.
Absolutely.
So you have to take that into perspective if you are going to bring your mom and dad along or
Mm-hmm.
family member along. You have to maybe understand that they didn't buy a house, like Drew was saying, maybe in the 90s, and terms were much different. Terms were different a year ago for us,
Absolutely.
But terms were much different back then, and the game definitely has changed. So, not to say that it's a bad thing to bring your parents along, but if, it could kill the deal.
It could. That is one sign I see, and you can always see it coming too. Whenever they're there,
Oh, yeah.
listening to some of the things they say.
Yeah.
It's,
You watch their eyes,
oh,
their
yeah.
face.
They always come in very skeptical too.
Yeah,
It's like good cop, bad cop.
right, right.
Well, let me add something to that. It's always interesting when I watch people like that. If you watch their body language, kind of like what you just said,
Uh-huh.
they always walk around with their hands like this.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to touch anything,
Yeah,
but we're just looking.
yeah,
Oh, what's that over there? What's that hole?
yeah, yeah.
They always have that old body language. Their whole
One of the
Uh-huh.
best questions to ask somebody is, when the parent comes along, is when they bought the house, did people in Oregon, Nevada, California, Phoenix, did they know about Murfreesboro, Tennessee in 1992? Now everybody in the nation knows about Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And a lot of that has to do with Nashville, Tennessee.
Yep.
So that has a huge factor on our market today in the offers.
That's true.
Yep.
Very true. Well, one thing that I like to hear a lot is when you're turned in your offer and you're calling up that listing agent and, hey, did you get, just calling to see if you got our offer? Yeah, we did. We received it. Thank you. Well, do you think we're going to know anything? Well, the sellers really want just to wait till Monday to review everything, and we'll get back to you.
Yep. Oh, that's
You didn't get it.
No.
You didn't get the
that
offer.
is
If that's what they're
never
you
a
didn't get it.
good
You ain't even
sign.
close.
No.
You ain't even close.
If they're not even gonna give you any information, like, hey, just a little bit, come up just a little bit, which some people may do, but if they're just like, we'll just wait till Monday.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
shit out of luck.
The next
buddy.
thing you should say is, well, could I revise my offer? I'm going to go ahead and revise my offer and resend that to you.
Yeah. What can I do different this time whenever I resend it?
Yeah, exactly.
We have a question from
From the
Mr.
audience,
from Mr. Davidson.
whenever you're submitting an offer, you should have an answer then.
Yeah, absolutely.
You should know, will this get it?
Yes, and I feel like you do so much work on the front
I
end.
wasn't done.
Sorry.
So whenever you're submitting an offer, do you find out what it needs, this may be illegal. What is your strategy whenever you're gonna make an offer? Let's say you just showed a house, walk me through the process of it.
Well, what do you want to go? You're number one on that board. Let's hear how you do it.
Well, I'll tell you, when I've got something listed and someone comes along, they usually will call and say, hey, this is so-and-so. I've got a buyer. They'll tell me a little bit about the buyer. Really strong offer this lady's going to bring. But if the house looks really good, we're going over to look at it. If the house looks really good, this lady, she's from out of town. She wants to write something up today. I think this may be the one for her. And would I send the offer to your number? Is that kind of how I would do it? And is there anything specific that, maybe the the seller is looking to get is in something is, we can be flexible with time if you need time.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of go ahead and lay out some things, you know, we're going to bring a hefty, you know, they're bringing, you know, 75%
Yeah.
cash. So
Absolutely.
we're not even going to need an appraisal either. So, you know, that's a really good sign when for the buyers bringing that,
All that cash.
bringing the cash, bringing the buyer, letting you know what's going on, letting you know that they're about to show the house. They call you when they leave, hey, she loved it, we're going to be submitting an offer.
Yep.
That is really as the buyer's agent, that's really the best way to go about with a listing agent. Let them know, especially if you think this might be the one. If you've been
Yes.
looking at real tracks and you've compiled your little list together that you're going to show for the day, and you get to that one and you're like, you know, this might be it. If you think that's the one and you know your buyer's ready to pull the trigger and do something, then it's,
Lay that groundwork.
yeah, lay it out. Just
Yeah.
lay it out.
Absolutely. See, and that's me, you know, call that agent, you know, let them know what you got, kind of give them a good idea, but I usually like to pick their brain. Like, I'm like, hey, what do your sellers need? What have your sellers told you that they're really looking to get out of this? How much are they wanting to net? You know, what exactly do my buyers need to bring to you so we can get this thing locked up today? I ain't waiting till Monday. If you make me wait till Monday, my ass is gone. 'Cause I know
Right.
how good my offer is. It's going to be the best one you're going to get. So I like to pick their brain. Tell me what you need.
I mean, it's hard if you're the listing agent and a buyer's agent calls you and says what Drew just said. It's hard not to consider and not be like, ooh, I can't wait to get his offer.
Yeah.
You know, I can't wait to get this in. You know, as a listing agent, it almost makes you want to call up your person and be like, hey, we might be getting something in.
Yeah.
You know, so it might be
Absolutely.
good.
Well, I know, you know, with all the listings that you have, how many offers do you get that no one ever calls you, sends you a text?
Oh.
They just send over an offer to you.
Yeah, more than should.
Yeah.
More than should.
I have a question, piggybacking off that question. With the people that, say you had the exact same offer, or actually say you had a little bit of a better offer from somebody that called you, but some of this person that called you had a little bit worse offer than the person that didn't call you, didn't text you, nothing, which offer would you advise your seller to take?
Well, I mean, you know, for the seller, you always want to get them what they want, and that's as much money as they can get, you know. As for me, I had rather work with that agent that was calling and letting you know everything and was communicating, because that's a good sign to me that they're going to be one to respond back to questions if I'm needing anything, or it's like the groundwork's kind of been laid right there. So as
Yeah.
for me, I'd rather work with the one that was communicating and doing all that. But for the seller, I've got to take their best interest,
Kind of
which
sticky
is
situation.
so
Yeah.
it's a sticky situation, of course. But you know, as a listing agent for a seller, you want the very best for them, which is the
Yes.
most money, the best terms, the less time on the market, a quick close. You know, so.
Well, usually in this market, I see it as if they're sending a top-notch offer, they're usually going to call you.
Oh, yeah.
Because those the agents that send the best, they usually kind of have a good idea of what they're doing. They're always going to call, chat with you, see what you need. You know, it's usually the people who don't send good offers that don't call. From
Right.
what I've seen.
Right, and the same thing. From what I get, that's pretty much the same thing. The ones that don't call you, I don't know why they don't do that. I don't understand why an agent would bring you an offer and never call you and let you know that.
Not even just introduce themselves.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
half-assed, that's why.
yes.
One big indication that I have from a buyer's perspective or a agent's perspective is just, I mean, you guys could probably go for days, contingencies. I mean, I know that's gonna be a longer process to get an offer accepted if my buyer is just not budging on any type of contingencies. I mean, if they're 100%, we've gotta have an inspection or gotta have some type of contingency, that indicates to me it's gonna be a longer process. It's gonna be harder to get an offer accepted. You guys agree?
Somewhat, but you know, again, that can be negotiated as well. You know, that an inspection's fine. You know, if you want to do an inspection. maybe there's a term in that we can work out. You know, if you do the inspection, if, you know, that no single item over a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
You know, seller's not gonna go in and fix little nitpicky stuff, but if you were to find something that was, you know, a $5,000, you know, then,
Still got to weigh out.
yeah, there's just kind of things that, I think almost everything is negotiable.
Yep.
And I think it's just, again, going back to that, what Drew said, laying that groundwork, and as the buyer's agent, giving the listing agent a call, introducing yourself, letting them know you're showing it, letting them know your buyer's interested, letting them know that they're more than interested, that
Yeah.
they're, you know, kind of a little bit of a story with it. I mean, that sets a long way. It really
Yes,
does.
Absolutely.
And once you get to that point, I took Drew's offer, and then he did have an inspection. He could say, look, I know we talked about, the seller really didn't want to fix a lot of nitpicky things, so what if I put on the inspection, we're gonna do an inspection if no single item is over $5,000, we're taking it as is.
Yep.
I mean, that's hard to pass up if there may not be an appraisal. That's really good. Say Drew's offer didn't have an appraisal, more than maybe 20,000 over asking price. Closing in, a nice timely
Yeah.
fashion, not stretching it out to 45 days. I mean, he's under 30 days and.
Well, even if if you can't pay an appraisal, paying over appraisal to a certain amount.
Right, right.
Earnest money, non-refundable earnest money. There's so many different things, but like she's saying, if you just reach out, lay the groundwork with the agent, they'll kind of give you a good idea, especially if you're nice enough and they like you and they know you're going to try and bring them the best offer. They'll usually work with you a little bit.
Yeah, I think it just speaks a lot to the listing agent if they know that the buyer's agent's going to be somebody that they can, I think we could probably work something with
Yeah.
this. Because you could go back and tell your seller, hey, this, the buyer is this good offer. The agent, made a really good impression. I think he's going to be, really good to work with. I think we can negotiate anything that, if we were to get into something that, they want to do an inspection, if they were to find something, I think we can negotiate with these people. I
Yeah.
think this will be good. So, definitely makes a big difference, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
What else you got?
Well, sometimes if we talked about bringing family
Oh, yes.
who hasn't bought in 20 years or plus. Another thing, too, if you send that offer in and maybe the agent tells you that the buyers are out of town.
Yep.
Buyers are out of town this weekend, so it's going to be Monday before we can get back to you.
I remember one of my first deals. This agent, I feel like he was messing with me, and he definitely was. He was like, my clients are out in the Ozarks. They're out in the jungle. I'm like, what are you talking like? I'm like, what, man? And I was just watching the show Ozark, and I was like, this man must be watching the show Ozark too. Because I'm like, it just go. I mean, maybe people now I know like people probably do go to Ozarks, but I'm like, damn, that's just weird. I'm watching this show.
I
He must
just
be watching
watched
this
the
shit too. So he's like, yeah, they won't be back till Monday, and I'm like, okay, well. What do I got to do to get a sign? He's like, they're in the Ozark. I'm like, oh,
Say,
shit.
man, I'm in the Ozark too.
Me
Where
too.
they at?
Yeah, I go sign it.
Yeah. So do we have anybody that's chimed in? Love to
Looks
see.
like Cassidy's on. Thank you for getting on, Cassidy.
Cassidy.
Samantha, my wife.
Hey,
hello.
Sammy.
Thank you for getting on. Gracie. Good afternoon. Grant Tarpley was on here too. I don't know if he's still on here. What's up, Grant? Thanks for getting on, man. Edward Kilgore, Noah, Larima, all the usual suspects.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for getting on.
Absolutely.
For sure. Well, do we have any other questions or comments or anything from our audience today?
I would just say lack of communication by an agent.
Yes.
Huge thing. I mean, you said that to begin with. I mean, if they seem like they're entertaining your offer and then out of nowhere they just stop responding, they probably got something better than yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never
yeah.
had an offer.
They
that
worked
where
you.
They didn't respond that quick.
Yeah, I think the big takeaway from this is pretty much if you hear crickets, you're probably not going to get the offer. If you almost should know, like Tommy said, when you're turning that offer in if you've got it or not.
Well, there was a point in time, I feel like over the summer, where some listing agents would just turn off their phone.
Yes.
Did you ever run into that?
Yes.
And literally, I'm like, dude, I sent texts like, dude, I'm trying to send you the best offer you ever gonna get.
Yeah.
Answer my damn phone call.
Yeah.
So eventually, I had to just send the offer over, and then after I sent the offer, he called me.
Yeah.
He was like, love your offer. I was like, damn, well, could have made it better if you'd have called me back.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's yeah, that was huge. And I'm even still, like now, I'll have people, buyers agents that call and they're like, "Oh, I'm so glad you answered.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't
Thank
know
you
why,
for answering my phone
I don't know
call."
why, as a listing agent, why you wouldn't want to answer calls to,
Well, I think
get your client the most possible. I don't know.
I think
It's a strategy to make you think that you got to offer something really strong because you're getting bombarded
Yeah.
by phone calls.
yeah. And and there is truth to that, because when you've got a good little, a little $3.99 listing somewhere, just came out on the market.
Quick spin.
It's like your phone blows up.
Oh, yeah,
for
it don't
sure.
stop.
It just doesn't stop.
What's one of the
It's
best
such a
things to
hot
say when you
market.
get an offer to an agent? One of the best things to say is when they pick up and say, how do I give you the most money you're ever gonna get, with the best terms you're gonna get, let you stay as long as you want, is that something we can make happen today? And if they say, yeah, then say, well, what is it you want?
Yep.
And then, so that way automatically they'll tell you. So if they're gonna say something crazy, and now you got enough there to get the offer,
Yeah.
Yes.
instead of guessing. So it's really strategic on how you say it to present it to where you're gonna be the one they wanna work with,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And earnest
Absolutely.
money is huge. I don't care what anybody says.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I even had someone tell me the other day, maybe a couple weeks ago, and it was an agent, and talked about earnest money, and I said, well, because I had, like you were talking, Josh, I had two offers that were very similar, but one was bringing like $12,000 earnest money, and this one was over here only going to bring it was ridiculous. It was like $1,000.
Oh, no. Oh.
And I said, well, the earnest money, what could we do with that? And he was like, well, what does that make a difference? He can get that back. I'm like, no, I think earnest money really shows how serious you
Yeah.
are about this. $1,000 is nothing. People can walk away from $1,000 is absolutely, you
They
can
do
go
not
to
You
the
wanna
mall
get
over
everything
here
in the world.
Yeah.
for about 3 hours and spend, or 2 hours, or give me 15 minutes. I
I
can
was
spend
about to say, shit, I
$1,000
don't need that
quick.
long.
$1,000 is nothing for people to walk away.
No.
And and that earnest money is that commitment to, look, here's $10,000 for you to hold this. This is I'm going to go through with this. I'm buying this house. This is it. Here you go.
Yep.
So
Hey.
earnest money is everything, I think.
I agree.
It's not everything, but it is very important. So I don't know who would think that earnest money that's not important. He can get that back.
A lot of earnest money.
It's kinda blown away
by
with that.
Cash offer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you're not a real boss till you put the full sales price in there as earnest.
Yeah,
money.
was that you that did that?
Me and Noah both have.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Didn't
Noah had.
Ashley do that too?
Yeah, I think.
Ashley
did Ashley
had-
do it too?
Ashley had a cash buyer,
Yeah.
and I think her earnest money was what, $280
Yeah.
or something like that.
Noah's was like
280,000.
$580. How much was yours?
460.
460. I mean,
Mine was
so
$320.
so come back at me and tell me that earnest money means nothing.
Hey,
When somebody's going to put up $460,000 in earnest money,
it's
and then
yours, big boy.
and
You
then-
got it.
and then you got another agent telling you that earnest money really don't mean anything.
Yeah. Shit.
Think so. I don't think so.
No. Earnest money is very important.
Very important. Like I said, I think it just shows the commitment, the seriousness, the dedication that we want this house. Here's our money. Hold it. Don't let anybody else even look at it.
Yep.
We want this. We're getting our things in order. We're buying it.
Absolutely. Well, that's all I got.
That's all I've got.
That was a good little topic today. Hey, we got a little fired
Yeah,
up
a little
too.
fun, little fun, little fun.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll be here next week.
Yep, next week, same time, same place. Real Estate 101 at 1 o'clock.